Going pretty, today's going pretty slow so far. It was raining like crazy earlier and I couldn't get here. And now that I am here, I've been waiting for almost an hour to get around the clock access, give or take around the clock. I rented a space at a tow yard, so they leave to go tow things, and then I can't get in. Although I do get to look at some interesting, crazy shit, and it makes me feel good about myself. Like, for example, the other day they towed this fucking thing in here, and I looked at it and I realized, you know, I've got it pretty easy, comparatively speaking. Yeah, it could be worse. I got my nut off. Let's see, it's right here. That's what I had to do to it. I had to disintegrate it. I had to learn it a thing or two. This is what I had to do to the bolt. Obviously these are not reusable by even my standards, so I have to replace these at some juncture, but according to the manual, now what I have to do is turn the wheel to the other side so that I can do the same thing that I just did on this side, remove 3 bolts, 1 bolt, 2 nuts. I have to nut once. I don't know how many times I have to nut, but I have to take at least 1 large bolt off. I have to get the bolt off. Okay, so after I get it off and nut, I have to turn to the other side and get off that one and nut that again. But of course that means I have to turn the wheel, which means I have to hook this all widge-wodge back up because this is connected to the steering wheel and that's what makes it steer. And if you'll remember, I had to disconnect it to get to that back up in there, blah blah blah. So it's sort of reconnected. It's not really on there all the way, but I think it'll hold enough to just turn the wheel 1 rotation, although that also could just be really bad foreshadowing for breaking something, so I'm gonna go ahead and put 2 more bolts in that and then turn the wheel. Okay, now I gotta do the same thing to the other side. This one looks like it's gonna be a little bit easier to get access to, which is just obvious right off the get-go. So got to remove that mounting bolt and these little guys up here as well. Okay, I used the breaker bar at first. That worked pretty quickly. This one's actually coming off a little bit easier, but it's longer. It's a longer bolt. I've already taken it off about as far as the last one came, but this one has got twice as far to go almost. So I'm just muscling it 1 step at a time. Just about to get finished pulling this bolt off, and I suddenly remembered that I was supposed to put blocks here. I have now put those blocks there, but without these blocks being here, it's entirely possible that I could hit one of these air supply control things or break one of these off, and then it would release all the air out of this airbag here, which would then drop this whole entire bus on top of me and make me go dead. So I have put these little blocks in where the manual says to put them, so that if that happens, it'll only fall about 1 centimeter or 1/2 inch, depending on if you're metric or standard. There we go. Come on. Booyah, son. Booyah. Oh, you ain't so tough now, are you? Oh, no, you ain't so tough now, is you? No, you ain't so tough. So it was still pretty tough. All right. No, that's not gonna work. Nope. Okay, well, we got that. We got both of those off. Woohoo! Now, moving on to the next list of shit to do. I guess I gotta release the sort of wheel well housing. Has a couple little bolts on there. I gotta take those off. That probably won't be any kind of problem at all. Okay, so as it turns out, they're the large bolts, the big one, this one, this one, this one here. There's two of them on the right side. So, of course, although my fabulous wrench worked very well on the first one, it turns out it really only worked on it good because it's actually smaller because rust has sort of shrunken the head. It should be larger and crisper like this, but because it was rusted out, it rusted away some of the surface and actually made it a smaller nut. So that's why the wrench fit. So the other bolt on this side doesn't have that rust, so it's full size, which means the wrench doesn't fit that one. So I've got to go back into town and I've got to find a bigger wrench and maybe a deeper socket, such as it is.